So I'm walking along, and Mavis and I went into a grocery store just to get a little bag of snacks while we wait for Lance and Holden to get out of a meeting. And I realized how she doesn't like plastic bags. They kind of creep her out. So I always carry them on my offside so that they're not bumping into her. The kids tend to smack her with them on accident, drop things on her. So she's just sensitive to them. And I thought, you know, I should do a quick video talking about how I plan to get her over that. The first thing I plan to do is put a small bag, more like Ziploc size bag, like on her collar. Just tie it to her collar and leave it on her for, I don't know, a little while. And keep increasing the size of the bag. It's not so much the presence of the bag that bothers her, it's the crinkly sound. She doesn't like it. She associates it with being smacked. So by changing the bag and making it get bigger and bigger over the course of, you know, a day or two, I'm thinking that will desensitize her to the crinkly sound, and also having something right there by her ear. I don't think that's kind of part of it. She's better if it's away from her, more like at her rib cage. She doesn't like it near her butt because she's pretty sure someone's gonna goose her with it, and she doesn't like it by her head because she's pretty sure that someone's gonna hit her in the face with it. Anyway, so that's my plan, and I'll see if I can videotape that and get some of that on some footage. What I won't do is hook it to her harness. What I don't want her to do is start associating her harness with anything bad. Obviously, she needs to work in it. She needs to be comfortable and happy in it. So, but her collar's on all the time, and I don't think she'll think of it as like a outfit, or it's just kind of a normal fixture that's on her all the time. So by putting the bag on that, it'll just be a bag on her neck, and I don't think it's gonna have anything to do with her collar. So anyway, here she is, we're walking. I got my bag, and we'll see how that works. Hopefully, within about a week or so, I'll have her to where she can, you know, have them wrapped around her ears and wrapped around her feet and walk around and not really care. We'll see. Okay, so this is the first installment of Operation Bag. Mavis doesn't like bags, so what I'm gonna start with is a really small bag. Now, she knows she does not have her vest on. I don't have the leash attached to her working collar. It's just on her flat collar. The idea being that if she freaks out, I don't want her to associate anything with any of her working gear. I want her to just like, you know, focus on just the bag being what she doesn't like. And she may do nothing. She may jump around like, you know, a horse with a fire on its tail too. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna crunch it up a little bit so she doesn't, you know, get wigged out. Good girl. Okay, she's already like, I don't like it near my ears. Good girl. I know that seems lame. This shouldn't bother any dog, much less a service dog, but you know, I guess you get enough stuff dropped on your head that becomes concerning. So we're gonna start with see, she's very uncomfortable. We're gonna start with the one bag tied sort of long so that it interferes with her ears and her movement a little bit and hits her in the chin, just to get her used to having the sound near her head and the bag kind of in her vision and in her way. So we're gonna start with that and see how she does. Okay? Good girl. Wait. What do you think of that? Good girl. Alright, you got your bag there. She definitely doesn't like it. Her tail's still up. She's not scared particularly, but see her face? She's not happy with that thing being there by her face. But this is just sort of a desensitization. She's pacing around circles. Just to get her used to it there. And by moving it around, sort of tapping her on the head with it, and making it like kind of touch her ears. Just getting her used to that. Now, if I thought this was really going to be terrifying for her, I would probably not do it quite like this. I'd maybe take it smaller steps where she just learns to associate the bag with food treats and stuff like that. But by doing this, good girl! By doing it this way, it gives her a chance to kind of get used to it sort of on her own terms here, because she's on a loose leash. You know, she doesn't have to stand in one particular spot or anything. I'm just sort of letting it happen. Good girl. Come on, let's go for a walk. So see, she's pretty comfortable with it now. Of course, we're going to get out here where it's dark because we're walking at night. And my next plan would be to add a second bag on the other end of that collar, the other side of the collar. So she's basically got one on either side of her head, no matter what direction it's aiming. And then my next plan would be to increase the size of the bag, switch from these little treat bags to something a little bit longer that's, you know, more interfering, like actually maybe the length of like a poop bag, and maybe switching colors to something a little more bright, like yellow, you know, white, and these are clear. The one I'm using right now is kind of clear. But anyway, you get the idea. We're going to keep working through it, and I don't want to traumatize her. I don't want this to be scary for her. I want her just to go, oh, okay, and just forget it's there, kind of fluff it out so it's not a big deal anymore, until she's basically wearing a poncho, walking around town like it's no big thing. At that point, I think she'll be comfortable having people walk around her with bags, especially if I start using bags to pet her, wipe at her, brush her, when she's comfortable with them, of course, not quite yet, but you know, use them to interact with her, like part of her, almost like her grooming routine would be to use a bag and wipe her down and pick up her feet with the bag on my hand, and you know, things like that, to where the bag doesn't mean anything anymore, and so therefore it's nothing to be afraid of. Alright, so now she's fine with the small white bag, and now I'm going to add a second bag. Now the second bag is a poop bag, and it's orange, and it's quite a bit longer. The idea is that it creates a little bit more distraction hanging out off her collar and whatnot. So let me get that set up, because I only have one hand here to videotape. So I'm going to put this on pause for just a sec, and we'll start off with this back on her collar. Okay, so here we go. We got one bag over there, one bag over here, and this is a much larger, very crinkly bag. So she looks ridiculous. I hope we don't run into anybody we know here in town, but we're walking at night. Hopefully nobody will see us. Let's see kind of what she does when she sees that there. Good girl. What do you think? Oh, what is that? Good girl, maybe. She can hear a football game going on down the street at the high school. Alright, you ready to walk? Let's go! It's gonna get dark. Good girl! Okay, so she didn't seem to care about the second bag at all. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to use some of this bark mulch here, and I'm going to fill a third bag with maybe, I don't know, a quarter of the way full of bark mulch, and hang that from her collar. So it's in front of her as she walks, so she's kind of kicking it with her chest, bumping it with her chest and her front legs as she walks along, and see how she manages that. So that'll be our next step in desensitizing her to plastic bags. Alright, so you can see we've got the empty flappy bag up here. We've got the small bag that we first started out with there. And then underneath, wait a minute, stay. I'm hung up in it. Underneath her neck here, it looks like a bag of poo. But I promise it's just mulch. Anyway, so that's just going to kind of hang there and, in theory, bump her in the chest, so that she gets used to that bag that has some substance to it moving around. Because that seems to be part of her problem. She just always thinks somebody's going to drop these bags full of stuff on her head, because they often do in my family. Good girl. Good girl, it's alright. See, she doesn't like that one. That one's bothering her. She's backing up. She's like, something's under there. Good girl. What do you think? I think you suck. Come on, let's walk. Let's walk, walk, walk. That's a good girl. She never gets to walk out in front of me like this. She's usually having to heel. So for her, this is kind of a special treat to be able to walk ahead, kind of on a loose leash, doing whatever she wants. I'm trying to make this as pleasant as possible and give her the opportunity to think about what she's going through, so she can process it. You know, I don't want to just scare her and terrify her, because that's sort of flooding. That's flooding her system. She may overcome it, but it doesn't mean she's going to learn something from it necessarily. So by letting her kind of work her own way through the bag, and she sees this big bear here. What do you think of that bear? Come on, let's go for a walk. Let's go, let's go. Letting her kind of process it on her own and work through it on her own, and just kind of following her around as she walks, will have the best chance for success. You can see it's accomplishing what I'm wanting. See it bounce in front of her there? I don't like it. See, she's managing pretty good. Good girl. She's kind of trying to play with it, I think. Good girl. All right. Good puppy. Hang on. Okay, so she's doing pretty good with the bag of dirt hanging around her neck. Now I'm going to exchange that out. I'm going to take the bag of dirt off, and instead I'm going to place one of these big, normal plastic bags that you get at the grocery store, and let that dangle off her. And that's probably one of her worst concerns, is these bags here like this, just getting near her face and making crunkly sounds. So by removing the dirt, she's not going to try to play with it anymore because she keeps trying to grab it like it's a ball around her neck. And we'll put one of her worst concerns on the collar and see how she does, basically flying a bag kite. All right, I got it set up. I've got the bag of dirt off of her neck, and I've replaced it with a fairly good sized grocery bag. I haven't let her get up yet, just so you could see her actual reaction. So you hear her whining, of course, yawning. These are all calming signals. These are indications that she's uncomfortable. Hopefully not too uncomfortable, because we've been working through this for about the last hour or so. So let's see kind of how she does. You ready? Mavis, let's go for a walk. Good girl. Wow, she's doing great. Can't see her, unfortunately. You see the bus? You want to go on the bus? Let's walk. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, she's ignoring it completely. Just walk. She's like, I'm going to trip on it, and it's going to stuck on my feet. Good girl. She's literally stepping on it now, and she doesn't care at all. That's fantastic. I wish you could see it better. I'm sorry it's so dark. So I've now removed the bag. It's now in my hand. I put the bag of dirt in the bag, so there's something in it. Now I'm gonna walk her at a heel and see how she does with the bag just kind of bumping up against her over and over. This is something that would absolutely mortify her in the past. And just tonight, we've made huge progress. Notice I haven't given her treats. There's been no food reward. The reward is basically just getting to move forward. She loves going for walks. So by letting her move forward and walk, she's not spent time too much focusing on the bags and the noise and the bumping, and more about, yay, we're going for a walk. What's up there? Is that a cat? What's that? You know, that kind of stuff. So we're still using reward-based training here. Just the reward is not something like food or a ball. It's the activity of going for a walk. So ready? Let's go for a walk. Walk with me. All right, you can see there she is. There's the bag. Bumping it on her, setting it on her. Oops, dropping it. My fingers are dead. I cannot feel them. Maybe. Walk with me. Girl. All right, walk. You can see her take a kind of a sideways glance at it there. Hey. The bag's bumping into her. Good girl. She's still a little uncomfortable. When it touches her, she stops breathing for just a second, holds her breath, and then keeps on going. Here. Here. She's reluctant to turn into it. Here. Come on. Come on. There, good girl. Come on. Good. Yeah, good girl. Oh, see, she doesn't like it. Good job. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm going to run the bag down the leash. So it is attached to her now, not me. Let's go. Come on. Good girl, come on. There's that good girl. Look at you. Look at you. Yeah, come on. I think it's dragging. I don't like it. You see her tail still up. She's still managing this. What's that? What's that? Good girl, Mavis. What a good puppy. So as you can see, the reward for her is just to move. Just to keep moving. Come on. Good girl. Come on. She's managing. I would say, I don't know, 5 or 6 more sessions of this and we're going to have fairly successful, come on, desensitization to this. We've done a lot of work in just one day. Way more than I thought you'd be able to do, to tell you the truth. So, you stepped on it, huh? Come on. What a good girl. Here. Come on, puppies. Well, here she is walking. The bag is literally on her offside, bumping into her. She does not like it, but she's managing it. Come on, good girl. Good girl. So now we've made it a full-on game. Alright, take the bag. Be with your kid. She doesn't care. Just too close. Just take the cat out of this. You chew it on my arm. That's not polite. It's not polite to chew on mommy's arm. Because the bags aren't affecting her at all either. Hey, hey, what you doing? I knocked my camera out of my hand. I gotta stuff it in your mouth. In the big bag. See, in the big bag's not scary anymore. Throwing dirt everywhere.